going to have a lunch break. I believe that there's a printout list of all the candidates that people who are feel inclined can go and take their cell phones up front to collect a picture during this point in time. So you get your own notes in order, and perhaps that can just be made clear to everybody, because I know there's much question.
Well, if this is a problem because we don't want people leaving the floor while their ballots are out.
Fair.
So I appreciate the sentiment, but I don't think it's an order.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
If there's anybody who is done with their printed list of candidates, Grace Harbor has no printed list, and it's not on the board anymore too, so.
Are you picking up?
No, I took care of my cabinet.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Point of information, Mr. Chairman. This ballot is for the 10 state at-large delegates only. Is that correct?
I believe those are the ballots that were taken by the chairs. Let me check with the tellers. Did they take ballots did they take ballots just for delegates, or did they take ballots for
It is getting wild in here.
Yeah, well,
What did they take 10 ballots? Did they take ballots for one set of 10? How did they take two sets of 10? The tellers before me that they only distributed ballots for the delegates, not the alternates.
And will there be a distribution of alternate delegates ballot and elector ballot?
Yes.
Thank you.
They're going to break for lunch anyway. I wish they would not have allowed them to be served until we all went to lunch, but
Thank you. We have an amendment on the floor that is to make a 20-minute lunch break that will also allow for a working lunch. Any other comments to the amendment? Go ahead.
I'm the maker of the original motion without the amendment. I would like to say no. Y'all have free will. Just go grab a box and come back if you're worried about it.
Anyone else wish to speak to the amendment to the motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Tony Stevens from Kitsap County. I support the amendment because it would be nice for us to have a clear break when no business is being conducted on the floor. We can all go get our stuff and come back and all be present when business is conducted on the floor, rather than anyone misunderstanding and being absent while business is being conducted on the floor. I support a clean break instead of a working lunch.
That's a yes to the amendment. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, we need to understand what we're voting when it's going to take place. Will it be after the alternate vote or before the ballots are handed out for the
To
alternate?
be decided. The way things are going, I imagine before.
Okay, so if we vote for the motion, we're voting for a 20-minute break, but not an immediate 20-minute break.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Go ahead.
Chris Ferguson, Kitsap County, speaking in favor. Well, I do think that
We love you. Can we stay down the floor?
I can be louder if need be. Speaking in favor, because while I do support it, people coming and going as long as they don't have ballots in their hands as they leave to get their food, there are some of us that do need to leave the building, so the 20 minutes is an appropriate break. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a call to question on the amendment. All those who wish to end debate and vote on the amendment, signify by raising your hands. All those opposed, signify by raising your hands. The ayes have it. Debate is over on the amendment. Now we are voting on the amendment to the motion. The amendment would create a clear 20-minute short lunch break. At the chair's discretion, we believe this would happen after the alternate vote, which we are about to undertake, and also allow for lunch to be a working lunch outside of that 20-minute window. That is the amendment. If you like the amendment, raise your hand. If you don't like the amendment, thank you, put them down. If you don't like the amendment, raise your hand. The ayes have it. The amendment is added to the motion. Now we move to the amended motion, which is what I just said, creating a working lunch, so you can go get your lunch and bring it back if you choose. That also includes a shortened 20-minute break for lunch that will happen soon after we do the alternate voting. All in favor of the amended
Mr.
motion?
Chairman.
Point of information, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, point of information first.
Yes, before we vote on that, could you explain how we vote for the alternates before we know who the regular delegates are? Are there absolutely no regular delegate names on the alternate list?
At this point, I cannot answer that. Certainly, there may be some overlap. But again, these lists were circulated and are being circulated again to the body. So we need to watch our emails. So as it stands, there is the potential of some overlap in the two lists. We had another request to speak. Go ahead.
The problem we have is that
Hold on.
10,
We have a speaker on the floor. Please be quiet.
I understand the rules, we can't proceed past the first 10 until we've elected the 10. Now, we're making a bit of assumption that we're gonna have the full slate loaded in one ballot. Hopefully that'll happen, but it may not, okay? Because of some dropouts and things. So, we actually can't do the alternate vote until we're completely counted on the delegate vote. So, I would amend that once all the ballots are turned in to the station, we could take the 20-minute break, then we'll have to come back and do the alternate after the 20-minute break.
Well, we don't need an amendment on that because that was chair's interpretation anyway.
Okay,
So
I just wanted
the
to-
chair will just take her recommendation into account and
Thank you,
alter
Mr.
the
Chair.
chair's interpretation. Thank you.
Call the question.
We got to call the question. But you did, that's the call the question?
Call the question.
All right, thank you. The question has been called. All in favor of ending debate on the amended motion? Maybe the amended emotion. Raise your hands. Thank you. All opposed, raise your hands. Thank you. The ayes have it. So we will do that. We will have a working lunch. You can go get your lunch if you want and bring it back. We will also have a 20-minute hard break for lunch. And at the recommendation of one speaker, the chair's interpretation has changed. We will take the 20-minute break after we make sure we've collected all the ballots for delegates, which will be very soon.
Chairman?
Hold on, go ahead, up here first.
Point of information about the email list that just came out with the delegates. There is only one attachment for the delegates, so unless there is a separate alternate list, we should assume that they are the same list.
I haven't seen the list, so I can't characterize it, but you may be right. Go ahead.
So the first is apparently the same thing. Thank you.
Go ahead.
That was a vote on calling the question. We still need to have the vote on the motion.
I'm sorry?
That was a vote on calling the question.
We did, was that right, Parliamentary? Did we not do, I lose track of the votes?
Mr. Chairman, you did both. You did both. Yeah, we did both. He's okay. You did both.
I believe we voted.
You're okay.
Yeah, I think. All right, so have we collected all of our ballots back? Let's check our status here. Times. All right. Go ahead.
Point of order.
Go ahead. Point of order. Go ahead.
My point of order is that we can do, you wrote that we couldn't, do a unanimous vote, by acclamation, and we can't. And so that was my point of order.
We can't make a vote that wasn't unanimous. We can support the slate by acclamation. That we can do. Go ahead.
Debbie Knudsen, Chelan County. I think we voted, it's over. We've got a lot of business to do, and trying to do something else is,
All right, any other business?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I move that we as a body recommend the candidacy of Mr. Judge Larson.
Thank you. I believe that motion is in order.
And now we're going on to other business.
That motion was withdrawn.
No, it wasn't. He got back up and said, no, it wasn't.
Maker of the motion.
Yeah, and I raised a point of order that we can do that. Yeah, we have not had a ruling on that.
We cannot make unanimous votes to endorse that we're not unanimous.
By acclamation you can, it's the same thing, but we can do that. I need a ruling on my point of order.
The ruling on your point of order is we cannot, it is not in order to take a vote to make retroactively unanimous a vote that was not unanimous. What we can do is we can vote by acclamation to support the slate of endorsed candidates. The motion is out of order. So Parliamentary points out if each of the elections had itself been unanimous, we could do what the motion sought to do. But since they weren't, we can't. But if someone wants to make a motion to support the slate by acclamation of the body, we can do that.
Mr. Chairman, the gentleman would like to amend his motion to acclamation.
Thank you. Now that is in order. So the motion is to support the slate of endorsed candidates by the acclamation of the body. We have some seconds. I saw this one down front first. Okay, any discussion on the motion to... Hold on. I see you. You were first. Go ahead.
I was waiting. I'm here to speak against.
Okay. Go ahead with that.
Chair, there's a important question is, in this, counties that may not have voted for the candidates, are they bound to this? If they have endorsed other candidates than what this body is, are they bound in any way by this affirmation?
We're the Republicans. We don't bind people to things. But seriously, the answer to the question is, would be an action of this body. It does not bind a county party to anything, anywhere. It's a kind of celebration, a celebratory action by this body to further its support of the slate of endorsed candidates. And as background, it is something that is often done. Are there other
Yes, Mr. Chair.
discussions? Hold on, this one first, and then you. Go ahead.
I would just speak against this motion, specifically on the grounds that our governor's race has been quite controversial. And I'll just use your words, they were excellent, that we don't bind people. This would not bind people, but this would be asking to put out a statement that says that we all agree to all of the people that were chosen, and we clearly do not. And I would certainly not expect to put that stamp if my candidate were to have prevailed any more than if my candidate did not prevail.
Thank you. All right, in the back.
And I agree with the speaker here. That is completely inappropriate. I know some people here are feeling celebratory, but not all of us are. And you don't have the right to say that we're celebrating with you.
And that's what I was going to say. I would like to speak in favor of the motion from someone who, let me just ask, who wants to win? Who's ready to win? If we don't start supporting our own candidates, this is the beginning. Now I recognize that there is a lot of challenges in moving forward.
Now let's keep it quiet. We have a speaker on the floor. Go ahead.
But the point of an endorsing convention is to endorse candidates. And if we're not willing to stand up, unified, we will continue to allow the Democrats to win in this state. And if that's what you want, then go for it. This endorsing convention was put in place because the last time we won in Washington State was in the 90s, and it was because of this strategy. Endorsing is a winning strategy. Not every candidate that I wanted got the endorsement, but as a Republican, I am not going to be bound, but I am going to commit. I came to this convention to endorse, I'm going to endorse.
I also am in favor of this. I'm sorry, did you recognize?
Go ahead. Thank you.
John Siegel, Spokane. I also am in favor of this. Yeah, but we had 2 or 3 negatives first.
No.
My name is John Siegel. I'm in Spokane County. I am in favor of this motion, and the reason is, just like some people said before, okay, we have a slate of candidates that are competing against each other, the Republican versus Republican. That just splits the vote. Last night we heard that in Spokane County we had something like 230,000 people voted for Cole, 175,000 voted for Inslee. Okay, so basically when we have multiple people in Spokane County, for example, that are Republican, they're going to split the vote and the Democrat will win. We need to be united, and together we need to be united, and we need to help raise funds for these people, for the slate of candidates we have, and we need to be knocking on doors as a unified party. That's the only way we're going to beat these commie brats.
Right.
So I will.
Echelon County, call the question.
All right, call question's been called. The call to question requires a 2/3 vote. It ends debate. If you're in favor of calling the question, raise your hands. Thank you. If you're opposed to calling the question, raise your hands. The question's called. Debate is over.
Point of information,
Go ahead. Point of information.
what's the threshold for proclaiming this affirmation?
I'm sorry. Speak up.
This is a 50% vote, is this a 2/3 vote?
It's a standard motion, so it would be a simple majority vote. All right.
Point of information.
Point of information. Go ahead.
Define support. What does that mean to the body and to the WSRP?
The motion maker would have to define support, and this is not a colloquy. Motion maker, I will give you a moment to define support in your motion.
Mr. Chairman, it's the common definition of the common English language word support.
All right, I don't want to drag this out into a colloquy. Let's vote on the motion because we called the question. All in favor of the motion, which again is to support the slate of endorsed candidates by acclamation. Raise your hands. That looks almost like acclamation to me. If you do not support the motion, raise your hands. The ayes have it, the motion passes.
I would like to know, just because I'm new at this, I would like to know, a lot of people are new here. Since we did endorse these candidates, does the Republican State Party then help them financially?
That's really not in order, but the state party supports endorsed candidates with fundraising. We do not normally cut direct checks to candidates.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I'd like to remake the motion.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Actually, the motion was never withdrawn. I guess we effectively tabled it, but go ahead and remake your motion. Thank you.
I would like to remake the motion. This works in Kitsap County, that this body supports and recommends the campaign of Judge Larson.
Thank you. We have a second. So the motion is to recommend the candidacy of Judge Dave Larson to the state Supreme Court. At the request of the candidate, recommending is preferable to endorsing, as I mentioned before, because of the particulars of judicial canon. So the motion and the second is to recommend Judge Dave Larson for the state Supreme Court. Any discussion? Motion maker, do you want to say anything else?
John Cena, Spokane County.
Let's let the motion maker say something first, then we'll come to you.
There's really not a lot to say. The judge said it very well yesterday. I don't need to repeat his speech, but he's been on our side where it matters for a very long time, and we need him in this position. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just, you said it was recommending is comparable to endorsing. What is the difference between the two?
Really?
That's an out-of-order question. That's for the judge to answer. It is a matter of particulars of judicial canon. Thank you. Sure. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Point of information, okay?
The motion that I heard was that the judge be supported and recommended.
You did not hear correctly. That was not the motion.
From the person in front who just made the revised motion?
Your information is incorrect. That's not what the motion maker said. The motion is to recommend the candidacy of Judge Dave Larson for the state Supreme Court. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Thank you. Anyone opposed to the motion, raise your hand. Thank you. The ayes have it. It looked unanimous to me. All right. Well, we have finished the business we had in front of us. As I mentioned before, the tellers are counting the ballots for delegates to the National Convention. We cannot proceed with the vote for alternates until we know the results of the vote for delegates. So at this point, we are going to start our discussion of the report of the Platform and Resolutions Committee by the committee chair, Juliana McMahon, in Kitsap County. And this will begin what is often a discussion that lasts some time of our platform. But this is, go ahead.
Point of information. This is a part that coming up now, which is going to involve some argument as well, but there's a reason for it. I would like to request that the chair solicit from the
Credentials chair believes we should not begin that process either until the delegates have been decided, because there's also overlap on those lists of people who want to be electors and RNC delegates. So our plan is to stay with the original sequence there, do the delegates to the National Convention, those ballots being counted right now, then do the alternates, and those ballots will be counted, and then do the last two of the presidential electors. That is the plan currently, and we believe that by beginning our work on the platform in between these several votes, we can accomplish all of them in good order by 5 o'clock. That is the plan. The body can always suggest otherwise, but since I have heard no objection yet, we're going to proceed to hear the report from the Platform and Resolutions Committee. Chair McMahon.
From the Platform Committee. I want to start by saying that the Platform Committee consisted of a member from every single county. Every single county was asked to send a member, and those members did an excellent job of representing you. I would like to ask my committee members to please stand to be recognized, all of those who worked so hard on this. Brady, wherever you are, can you get my report up on the screen so everyone can see it while I read it, please? We were tasked with going through 39 platforms and reconciling them with the state platform. We had less than 2 weeks to accomplish this monumental task. I would like to say that your representatives worked super hard. We held 4 Zoom meetings for more than 9 hours each. Plus, we met for 6 hours on Thursday in the midst of everything else, and then we met again Friday morning. So your members of the committee were very dedicated, getting up early, staying up late, so that we could have a platform for us today. We have a principles-based platform. That means, what do we as Republicans believe? And so your representatives brought your platforms, and we merged those together with the state platform. We made changes, and we came together with a document that talks about what we as Republicans believe. In addition to that, we looked at resolutions. So resolutions usually involve action items, and they're often more timely and specific, because our platform is intended to last for 4 years. And so we want to be sure that the majority of the stuff in that is timeless. We will begin, I would like, if you please go to the next page, Brady. We begin our platform with a preamble, and this represents the overarching beliefs of our party. We talk about the fact that we are indeed a constitutional republic. We do believe in our Bill of Rights. We believe in the Declaration of Independence and what it says. We are the party of Abraham Lincoln, and we believe that government is best when it's closest to the people, and that it should be done as locally as possible. We also reaffirm the Americans' Creed, which was written by William Tyler in 1971 and accepted by the U.S. House of Representatives in 1991. And I'm going fast because I only have 20 minutes to do this. So, if you'll go to the index, please.
Madam Chair.
Please. Yes.
Are you want us to hold amendment motions until
so this
thing is done?
This is the platform committee presentation. You'll see in the rules I'm allowed 20 minutes to explain to the platform. Then we will actually proceed. I will explain the rules when we get done with our presentation.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So this is the presentation portion. There really is no debate involved. You'll notice that in the index we did try to organize them. Probably the 2 changes I'm going to go over, especially the things that are different from last time for people's information. We separated energy and environment from each other, and then we also added an election integrity plank. Almost every single county had election integrity planks, and so we followed that logic. If you go on to civil and religious liberty, which is section 1, we did not make any major changes to this. We did change some of the wording. Going on to section 2, limited government. Kind of the same thing. Section 3, ditto, we made some word changes. We brought in stuff from the platform. Section 4, and I know I'm going quickly. Hopefully everybody received this either electronically. Each county should also have a paper version. Every county I know has a paper version. I did distribute those. And we'll go through the more slowly when we get there. Election integrity, this is the brand new section. Election integrity was such a big issue that I will give you heads up. Not only did we add a plank specifically addressing election integrity, but we actually have a resolution that goes further on election integrity and ensuring that people can rely and have confidence that our elections aren't being held. Going on to national security, you'll see that there were a ton of changes to this section. We did add, to the next page, we did add a paragraph in here I wanted to point out about the National Reserve of Strategic Materials and limiting how those are used. And then we also added the last paragraphs there about the not using state and federal monies for agendas such as CRT, 1691 Project, or other programs that teach hatred and racism under the guise of equity. We've heard a lot of that from our military. Going on to national sovereignty, it is pretty much the same as it was before. We kind of highlight some portions of the Constitution in there. Going on to border security and immigration, we had a lot of changes to the section. I'll leave that up there for a second. I will just point out that we did add that third paragraph is basically all the points that we received from your various platforms, and we actually integrated some resolutions into the platform. So some counties do platforms and resolutions a little differently. So we actually took some of the resolutions we were given and we actually put them into the platform. So again, we tried to incorporate the conceptual ideas, the core ideas of the Republican Party into the platform, and then if there's extra specificity, then we put those in resolutions. So that whole third paragraph basically is brand new with all the points from your platforms. Going on to section 8, sound fiscal policy. We did add in there the second paragraph about the state income tax and the capital gains tax. We recognize that there are government entities that are basically trying to tax your income by calling them different things. And I know that we just passed an initiative, Let's Go Washington, that says we can't have an income tax, but we also need to account for the other ways that they're trying to tax our income, just without calling it an income tax. Going on to economic opportunity. We did add in here that we oppose the Growth Management Act and we support dissolving the hearings boards. Support for families, section 10. I want to point out the third paragraph, and I'll talk about it and give everyone time to read it. This was a brand new paragraph that was brought to us and discussed. So the thought process behind this was the fact that we do live in a state where abortion is legal, and the thought was that we can be more open and inclusive by acknowledging that fact, but saying that we strongly believe that every alternative and every option and support for people experiencing unwanted pregnancies should be expressed to people before making decisions about abortion. If we go on to the next page, the first paragraph is basically taking almost every single party platform had a section about the fact that we need to address what's happening with gender. And so that is why we added this paragraph, and we talk about the fact that God made us males and females. Yep. And that's how it's going to be. We also had a lengthy discussion about the fact that there is so much evidence about the harm of gender transitioning or are gender therapies for minors before they're really old enough to understand the irreversible implications of those actions. And so we have a blanket statement. It doesn't matter if the parents think they should do it or not. It doesn't matter if they think they should do it or not. We do not believe that minors are prepared to make decisions that will affect the rest of their lives. Going on to section 11, education. We believe in education. We believe in education that is local and that is accountable to parents. We should not be doing anything in schools that parents do not know about.
Exactly.
We also believe that some of these new forms of education having to do with ideology should not be graduation requirements, and they should not be forced upon our students and teachers. We should be teaching science, reading, writing, arithmetic. We should not be trying to indoctrinate our children. I want to point out that our platform specifically calls out school vouchers, but we also have a resolution on education savings accounts that the committee did approve. Going on to the next page for education. We made sure that we incorporate a resolution to eliminate the Department of Education and return control to the states. We also added a statement that we support the elimination of Common Core standards. We continue to emphasize that we believe that vocational education should be a viable alternative for people that do not want to go to four-year universities. Going on to healthcare. So you'll notice that we added another section of bullet points. We had a lot of ideas about healthcare from the various county platforms. So we did our best to incorporate those into this platform plank. I want to point out the third paragraph where we talk about COVID and the fact that people should be able to make their own medical decisions. This includes the fact that we should never have mandatory vaccines. Going on to the next page is property rights. We believe very strongly in property rights. We actually do not have a lot of change to this section because we've always been very strong on property rights. I will mention that we did, if you look at section 2, we talk about the areas that government should not be interfering in people's ability to have property rights. They can acquire, own, use, possess, enjoy, and dispose of private property as they see fit. Going on to section 14, the protection of agricultural and natural resources. It's very important that we have local control, that we do not let the federal government railroad us in the use of our agricultural and natural resources. You'll see the fourth paragraph is new. That did come from one of your county platforms. And that is that if the state or federal government wants to acquire more land, and keep in mind, a lot of Washington state is already under state and federal control. If they want to buy up more, that they then need to release an equal amount back to private use. For those of you who are unaware, there are some counties where the state and federal government are basically buying up the whole county and there's nothing left for the citizens of that county to use.
Oh my gosh.
Going on to the next page, you'll see that we, like I said, we have a lot to say about it, so we actually needed 2 pages for this, this PowerPoint. You'll see that we talk about overreaching regulations, and then we added on this page the second paragraph. That is a new paragraph about in-stream flows. They should prioritize the well-being of the local community, regional quality of life, and the local economy. We also maintain our position that we should not tear down dams. The committee felt so strongly about this that not only do we put in a platform, we actually have a separate resolution on that too, to emphasize the point. Going on to the next one, on energy. This is a new section. We took the previously energy and the environment were combined into one section. So we took the language from that section, we basically bifurcated it into the energy portions and the environment portions, and then we added in all the stuff from your platforms, and this is the brand new energy plank. So it emphasizes the fact that we should have economically sound energy solutions. We also talk about the fact that we believe that we should have energy independence. We should not be relying on others. Here in Washington State, we have the best source of energy in our nation that are environmentally safe and sound. We should not be undoing those things. You'll see we specifically address that in section 4. We oppose arbitrary regulations that dictate our energy choices. If you go on to the next page of energy, you'll see there the second paragraph is on energy independence. And again, we mentioned the fact that we support keeping the dams up and running. Section 16, this, as I mentioned, is a new section that was bifurcated from the old platform. We believe in protecting the environment. We believe that conservation is inherent in conservatism. We are the party that cares about using the environment safely and responsibly. We believe that policies should be based on valid, replicable, scientific research, and it should be subject to scientific method and rigorous debate. We also believe that we should have local control over our environmental decisions. The needs of one county are not necessarily the needs of another county. We have different resources, different things available. We should not be having blanket policies for the extremely diverse state of Washington. Moving on to the next page, you'll see we took 2 whole pages for this. We believe that the EPA has overstepped the bounds of what was created to accomplish. So it should be abolished and the authority returned to the states. And you'll notice in paragraph 4, we mention the dams again. The second to last paragraph is a fairly new one. It talks about the fact that we maintain that large-scale solar and wind turbine farms destroy natural habitats and represent a significant fire risk, destroy flora and fauna, and leave hazardous isotopes. We also maintain that there are responsible ways to prevent forest fires through the use of selective harvesting, brush removal, and prescribed force in our fires. Moving on, section 17, transportation, very important to all of us. This is very similar to what we had 4 years ago. We did note that we believe that we should not be using transportation funding for commuter trains, expansion of light rail, and concepts such as completed streets. And we oppose the mandating of electric vehicles. We also went on in our resolutions to talk about the fact that we support natural gas, and we do not believe that we should be limiting our ability to buy either gas-powered vehicles or gas to run them. Next page, please. Last two paragraphs from this section, which are basically the same thing. Going on to section 18, preserving the initiative process. This is basically the way it was 4 years ago. We still support the initiative process. We believe it is extremely valuable. Going on to resolutions, we actually have 21 recommended resolutions plus 1 do not pass. This was out of approximately 40 resolutions that were submitted. The reason why the others are not before you is because either they were duplicates, we combined them, or we incorporated them into the platform. So all of the resolutions that were timely submitted are included on this list. Go to the next page, please. I'm going to quickly go through the list of resolutions, and I'm just going to show you the whereases. So the whereases are, the resolves. I'm going to show you the resolves because that's the action items. So all of these do have the whereases. I'm just going to show you the resolves to try and keep things quickly. So this basically says we need to stop using the word democracy when what we really mean is republic. Resolution 2 basically says, when you write a law, tell us where the Constitution gives you authority to do that. Resolution 3 basically says that we do believe that government should be small, efficient, and that the federal government should have a balanced budget. Resolution 4, the same thing for the legislature. When agencies pass rules, we want to know what legislative authority you have to pass that rule. Resolution 5, opposing earmarks, that's pretty self-explanatory. Resolution 6, restoring confidence in our elections. Again, as I mentioned previously, we have a whole new section on election integrity, plus a resolution on election integrity that goes even further and has more specificity to it as far as what we can do to restore confidence in our elections. So go to the next page, you'll see it actually continues. Okay, next page, resolution 7. This is basically stating that we support our law enforcement officers. Resolution 8, we stand with Israel. They can defend their borders. Next page. We actually waxed quite eloquent on the issue of Israel. Resolution 9. We do have an immigration and border section of the platform, but we went even further with the resolution and we talk about securing the borders and recognizing the importance of legal immigration and calling for the repeal of our sanctuary state. Resolution 10, we do not think you should be forced into unions. Resolution 11, we support education savings accounts. Resolution 12, we are opposed to the idea of gun-free school zones. People should be able to protect themselves no matter where they are. Resolution 13, we support the protection of monuments. We should not decide on monuments based on current political beliefs. Resolution 14, we think that the county-owned timberlands should be under county management, not the state. Resolution 15, we oppose the Wild Olympics for Qualim County. I'm going to take 30 seconds to explain why we included this. This actually is a current issue from the federal government that basically wants Qualim County not to have any land left, essentially. This would take them down to very little private land, and this is a specific instance of what is in our platform regarding government-owned lands. And so, despite the fact that normally we don't do things that are county-specific, we felt this had enough implications statewide for other counties that might face this, that we went ahead and moved to approve this as to pass. Resolution 16. This basically says that if you have a well water permit, then, and a permit exception, you should actually be allowed to use your water. I know, why do we even have to say that, right? Resolution 17, so the platform committee believe that in the spirit of everything else that had been mentioned, that we actually needed a resolution specifically about the current issue of the fact that our legislature is trying to basically do away with our natural gas. And so we actually wrote a resolution for you to consider addressing the fact that they have all these rules and regulations that are, without actually doing it, essentially doing it. So that's what Resolution 17 is. Resolution 18, again, we oppose the removal of dams. Resolution 19 is supporting the abolishment of the Department of Ecology and returning those to local government control. Resolution 20 is supporting the repeal of the 17th Amendment to the Constitution. I want to explain this because not everybody knows what this is. This actually was one of the closer votes in our committee. This basically says that instead of electing our U.S. senators, our legislature will elect our U.S. senators. So this is an idea that, like I said, it was actually a very close vote on our committee. Some people think it's a good idea, some people don't. There's arguments about the fact that this is how our founding fathers originally wrote it, and then there's arguments about, well, we have the 17th Amendment for a reason, because we're a little further away from that than originally. It went back and forth. So this, I want everyone to understand what the 17th Amendment does before we get to this, but basically the 17th Amendment says that instead of electing our U.S. Senator, we will let the legislature do it for us. So it's basically a representative to representative system instead of a direct one. Okay, and last, we had a resolution supporting the 6 initiatives, but it was written before the 3 passed, so we rewrote it, and we said we support, this is not time for clarification. Want to be local, but leaving the stuff that really there's a place for the federal government to have overarching control over certain portions of our energy. So that was the logic behind, in the committee, behind actually having this be a do not pass resolution. Thank you all very much for your patience. I really appreciate all of you being here today.
A moment to understand your point of information. There may be a proposal that might resolve your concern.
Mr. Chairman, Paul Furman.
All right. Paul, I want to hear what you have to say. We're in the middle of a vote. So the point of information was only arguably in order, but don't go very far away. I appreciate your point of information inquiry. I'm giving you grace by entertaining it. We have, I think, a resolution to the point you raised. Let's finish the vote we're in the middle of, and then we'll take it on.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Point of order.
Go ahead.
As written, the amendment is no longer germane to the title.
The committee chair mentioned the title will be changed.
Thank you.
Yes, I did mention that. Okay, and I understand why, but goodness, there's a lot going on. But you're doing great! Okay, seeing no further discussion, all in favor of passing the resolution as amended, signify by raising your hand. Opposed, raise your hand. Resolution passes!
At large, and resolve the matter of the at-large electors for the day. That is the motion, so it will require a suspension of the rules and then the vote on the motion. And we have a second. Go ahead.
I second the motion, Paul Hess.
Oh, okay, it's already seconded, but go ahead, Paul. More?
Yes. We have no authority in our bylaws, our rules, to replace presidential electors, in this case, the two at large. And I'm afraid this is a constitutional responsibility. This is not a convention floor matter. And if we only had 10 presidential electors that were elected yesterday, and we have a hard stop here at 5 o'clock, and we can't get that done, we are in for a serious court case if we have a close presidential election. So it's better if we can't finish our business today, it's better that we do it this way and have our national committee man or national committee woman be those two at-large electors.
Thank you. All right, we have another one down here first. Go ahead.
Just a quick point of order, I think we can speed this up. The order of the day is to do the electors prior to this, and so there is no need to suspend the rules. We are out of order at the privilege of the chair doing this resolution prior to electing the electors. There's no decision needed. We simply just need a request for the order of the day, and we would go back to electing alternates and or electors.
Thank you for that. For the sake of clarity, I think it's better to suspend the rules. Go ahead, Rebecca.
I wanted to ask an inquiry, I don't want to say the Q word, but if we suspend the rules, are we going to then be out of the rules permanently?
No, we suspend the rules for one action, and that is to elect the national committee man and woman as the at-large presidential electors. Any other questions? We had all. Go ahead. I saw the yellow card before I heard the whole question.
This is Gerald Zemek. I'm a PCO in 566 in Clark County. And I come to you with a question. It seems we're dealing with a lot of issues that deal with the Constitution, the federal Constitution. And my question is, shouldn't, with President Trump potentially coming in, don't we have the climate for a constitutional convention?
I don't know what to do with that. That was a point of inquiry. There's no way for the chair to respond. It's not germane to the business in front of us. Interesting conversation for after we adjourn.
Mr. Chairman?
All right. I think we had a call to question, which I did recognize. We're going to first vote to call the question, which is a two-part motion, or request a motion first suspend the rules, and then elect the National Committee Man and National Committee Woman as the at-large electors, 2 of the 12 we've elected. So first we need to call the question. All in favor of ending debate and getting to the matter, raise your hands. Thank you. All opposed, raise your hands. That was a 2/3 majority. We are calling the question. Now we come to our two-point action here, two-part action here. First, we need to suspend the rules by a similar 2/3 supermajority for the purposes of considering the motion to elect the current National Committee Man and National Committee Woman as the at-large electors, to add to the 10 that we elected yesterday from around the state. So the first part of this is, are you willing to suspend the rules to do this election of the at-large electors? If you are, raise your hand. Thank you. If you are not, raise your hand. Again, in the opinion of the chair, we had a 2/3 majority. We've suspended the rules. Now we go to the motion. Go ahead.
Ann O'Neill from Clark. We heard from all of the other delegates that they will vote for Trump and they'll support Trump. We have not heard from them that that's their decision.
I'm going to give that point of information some grace, since normally only the chair answers a point of information. I'm going to be flexible here and ask the National Committee Man and National Committee Woman if they will support Donald Trump on the first ballot or no. This is an elector. If he wins the state of Washington and they go to cast the vote in Olympia for the president after he wins the state of Washington, will you be a faithful elector and vote for Donald Trump?
100%.
Forever Trump.
Go ahead. In the back.
Mr. Chairman, Tony Stevens from Kitsap County. I move to amend the motion.
Out of order, we've already had a poll question on the motion. Go ahead, it's better to be on
I disagree, Mr. Chair. We had, I believe we suspended the rules so that we could consider this motion.
All right, Tony, I'll give you some grace. Go ahead, what's the motion?
Now, and this will simply be a litmus test on the mood of the room. I move that we amend the motion so that rather than taking the committee man and committee woman, that we hold the election among the elector candidates. Now, in this case, if I lose, it means that the body is happy with the committee man and committee woman. If I win, it means they want to elect among the elector candidates. So I move to amend so that we are not selecting the committee man and committee woman, but we select from the list of elector candidates.
All right, well, I think that motion is in order. Is there a second? Okay, I mean, that kind of guts the motion, I believe, but I think we heard from the maker, his explanation. Is there anyone to speak con or pro? I see a red card. Speak con.
Chris Ferguson, Kitsap County. I'm con because I'm in favor of the original motion because I do believe it was done, one, to fulfill our duties and to save time, which this body certainly seems to have been moved for. And that this just seems that we would be substituting this election in for what we're doing now, and we seem to be having a great deal of fun counting the original delegate ballots after waiting. So that doesn't seem to fit the schedule to me. Thank you.
Is there a pro? I see a yellow card, but not a green card. Go ahead.
Kevin Morris, Kitsap County. How many electors are there?
12. We elected 10 yesterday, one from each of the 10 congressional districts.
Excuse me, how many elector candidates are there?
Oh my gosh, 40?
Thank you.
Somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't see any other cards either. Oh, here's a green card. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Amber Crabot, King County. I recommend that the delegation consider voting this, is it an amendment?
This is the amendment, yes.
Amendment up, because the delegation should have the right to make that vote. It should not be an appointment by other people that we came here to vote, and I think that we should do it, and I think that we should truncate it and do it now. Thank you.
All right, any other comments on the amendment? On the amendment? Seeing none, where? Here? All right, use the cards. Oh, I see, there is a red card. Go ahead. You were waving the red card in front of someone wearing a red shirt. I didn't see it. Go ahead.
I'm opposed to the amendment and to the original resolution. I think we are here to fulfill a purpose. Part of that was to vote for 2 at-large electors from the state of Washington, and we should accomplish our responsibilities as delegates from our counties to the state convention to perform our duties.
Thank you. So that's a con to the amendment. Any other pro to the amendment? I see a green card here. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, we have an hour and 20 minutes before the 5 o'clock hour. That is plenty of time for us to get ballots, for us to write the 2 names that Trump himself wants, and to have those counted and be done.
Any other comments on the amendment to the motion? Go ahead.
I think this may be inappropriate, but do we also have to have the delegates chosen by 11 and the alternates, or by 5 o'clock, excuse me?
Good question. The requirement is not as strict as the requirement for the electors. In the case that we don't elect alternates to the National Convention, the existing rules of the party allow either the state committee or more likely the executive board to fill the alternate positions to the convention. So there is a way, if we run past time, to resolve that. There is not for the electors.
Okay, one more quick question. Are they still counting?
They're still counting from the delegate vote. We will get the delegate vote done before we hit our time. The question at this point is how far will we get with the alternate vote? And the new national committeeman takes office after the convention. But the motion, as I understand it, was that the current ones will be elected as the electors, the at-large electors. To your second question, it's part of the motion that the fees paid by the 40-odd people will be refunded to those people. That's part of the motion. I saw this yellow card first. Go ahead.
Chairman, I call the question.
All right, the question's been called to the original motion. This would end debate. If you want to get to the original motion, which would elect the national committee man and national committee woman as the at-large electors, if you want to get to that vote with no more debate, raise your hand. Thank you. If you want to keep debating it, raise your hand. The ayes have it. We move forward to the underlying motion. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, for the essence of time, I would like to suspend the rules. It looks like that...
We're in the middle of a motion. Middle of a vote, rather. We're in the middle of a vote. This could be a point of information, but we can't start a new action while we're in the middle of a vote. So you called the vote. All right, so let's get the question been called. Let's get this resolved, and we can pick up other business. So now the vote is sitting in front of you as the at-large presidential electors to join the 10 that were elected yesterday from the 10 regions. In the process of that, refund anybody who didn't get to stand for the position their filing fee. That's a yes vote. Your no vote would be we pursue some other way to do this, which will probably take a lot of time. So that's the vote. If you want to elect these two, and they will be elected by the body as the at-large presidential electors, please raise your hands. Thank you. If you are opposed and want to keep doing this some other way, raise your hand. Well, there are a few, but I think the ayes have it, and the motion passes. And now to your other piece of business.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the essence of time, it does look like they're having trouble counting, probably for the fact they can't figure out who to drop off. I would like to suspend the rules and just let the county committee accept the top 10 so we can move on to alternates before we run out of time. No, we can. I don't think that would be good.
I wanted to consult the parliamentary, and I think that motion is in order. What we would need to do, the motion is that we suspend the rules and we change our process for basically calculating the results of the delegate to the National Convention. The parliamentarian tripped me up here with a good point. Okay, because they're in the middle of counting, this might be not in order to change the rule affecting this one, but...
Yeah, I would ask the chair to ask the committee if they have already determined the number of votes for each candidate, because they may be in the process of trying to figure out who to drop off. So if they have counted all the ballots, but trying to figure out how to administer the dropping off of candidates.
Point of clarification.
Hold on, we're getting more information on the count. All right. To your point of information, which I think it still was, I don't remember, so what's your point of information?
Suspension of the rules.
Well, that would be a motion then. I would ask you to withdraw your motion and hold it for about 20 minutes. We are apparently at a point where we believe that we are 15 to 20 minutes away from having the final tabulation of the delegate vote, and that it looks like there will be a clear decision there where the 10 may have enough votes to qualify and not require any further action. So, unless surprise there and get that resolved, consider your concept when we then go to the alternate vote where maybe your concept will be.
Point of information, Mr.
Well, let's go over here.
I'm sorry, I have a question. Yeah, point of information.
It's a point of information. If you have a question,
Yes.
by Robert's rules, it's considered a point of information.
Thank you. Amber Gray, Buckingham County. Mr. Chairman, would it be possible for us to start the process of passing out ballots and getting prepared for the alternate vote as we wait for the 20 minutes for them to be here, or can we truncate or expedite the process more efficiently?
Okay, that's a good question, Amber. Yes, I think in the judgment of the chair, we can't start the vote yet, but we can hand out the ballots and get everybody ready to do the vote for the alternates. Yes, that's a good idea. Thank you. So, have the ballots ready. I would ask the chair of each county delegation and the district delegations to come down and pick up the ballots. These are the ballots for the alternates to the National Convention. Go ahead, actually, this one was first. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, Chris Ferguson, Kitsap County Board.
All right. Hold on. We'll give you a little bit of noise for coming out and getting the ballots, but let's try to keep it quiet. Go ahead.
Point of information. It occurs to me that it's been approximately 3.5 hours since we voted for delegates. delegates. Are we expecting the same time frame for alternates, and what happens if the vote for 10 is not clear on the first ballot? That puts us past 5.
All true, thank you. We have already heard some suggestions that could expedite that, and I assume we might hear them again or some more. We will consider suggestions to expedite.
Point of information.
Go ahead, in the back, we'll come to you next. In the back next.
Okay, question on the fact that we've been counting all these delegates in the back. The question is that we had such an issue actually understanding the names that were on the ballot, going through that whole process, and then the counting's taken 3.5 hours. My issue is we get to the alternate piece, are we going to have name issues again? Are we going to have all of these problems? Because, again, it's not fair to these guys to keep pushing this thing out.
We have already heard some suggestions for expediting that vote. And again, remember, in the case of the alternates, there are existing rules that the state party can appoint from the list of candidates, alternates. So we do have a fail-safe on the alternates that we don't have on the electors.
Thank you.
Sure. Point of order. Go ahead.
This is a simple one. The previous thing that the electors were identified by office and not specifically by name. And I just want to make sure that the record reflects their names, not office.
Well, the motion was the current National Committee man and woman, so I think it would be a Scribner's amendment to put their names in.
Yes, that's all.
Okay, we will treat that as a Scribner's correction included. Another one, Amber? Go ahead.
Just point of information, Mr. Chairman. Is it accurate, I don't know if the parliamentarian can address this or not, is it accurate that we just need to finish voting by 5 p.m. and they can continue to count after, or do we have to count before 5 p.m.?
Good question. It is possible that if the voting is finished before 5, the counting could go on after 5. It's not optimal, but it is possible.
Point of information.
Hey, I see the back. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
There's a lot of noise, David. All right, let's try to quiet down a little bit. I appreciate removing them out, but let's try to keep it quiet for the questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, due to the time taken in counting the delegates, can the county chairs select people to assist as tellers in expediting the process?
Thank you for that question. I will consult with the credentials chair who's overseeing it. I don't think it's a number of hands issue. I think it's a tabulation issue. The number of hands counted the votes pretty quickly. It's sort of consolidating all of those pages that has been the time factor. But I will consult with the credentials chair and ask for more hands will make it go faster. Go ahead. We do have some more resolutions work. So let's make this quick. Go ahead.
Thank you for Garfield County. I was on the Rules Committee. Article 2, Section 13 of the rules says, a motion to adjourn prior to finishing the business of electing national delegates, national alternates, and candidates for presidential elector shall be ruled on the board.
There we go. Okay, thank you. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Way in the back. Go ahead, Yellow.
Point of information, are we taking the top 10 by count for alternate, or are we playing the game?
Sorry.
Gosh, I believe it's top 10.
Dealing with voters. We also have
Jan Davis from, wait. No, one at a time. Okay, so the maker of the motion has explained. Do we have anybody opposed to the resolution? Yes, in the back you have a question for the chair?
Yes, I'd like the chair to read that out loud so everyone can see it.
Be it resolved that the Washington State Republican Party calls on the members of the Washington State House of Representatives to conduct a legislative inquiry investigation in accordance with RCW 10.46 and the Washington State Constitution for the purpose of removing Attorney General Bob Ferguson with cause in accordance with Article 2, Section 30 for bribery and corrupt solicitation. Seeing nobody opposed, we will move to a vote. All in favor of this resolution signify by raising your hand. Opposed, raise your hand. Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, and I would like this opportunity to provide you and the chair with evidence that we have compiled against Bob Ferguson for several crimes, and if I could...
I think you need to give that to the Washington State Legislature.
The representatives on our legislature, and that would be Chair.
Bring it on up. Okay. Since the chair, we have received no additional motions on resolutions. Unless I'm looking, is there a question in the back? Yes.
Yes, point of inquiry. I apologize if this has already been addressed, but is there a separate list, a complete list, not the Trump list, a separate list of the people running for alternate, not the people running for delegates?
I think I will just reiterate what the chair said earlier, which is this chairmanship is not responsible for dealing with those lists.
No, not the Trump list, the whole list of all.
Okay, so as the chair explained earlier, we don't have the list of alternates till we know who is elected.
Okay, so that the delegates, then we vote on.
We have to wait to find out who we elected.
Right,
Yes.
so that's
Okay.
the list.
So, since we have no other motions on the floor or presented to the body, I would like to announce, yes.
Information, Madam Chair, my name is County. The resolutions committee, the platform committee recommended the resolution.
Okay, right up at this microphone, please, Carol.
The platform committee recommended resolution 22 not pass.
Correct.
Is that going?
So nobody, it was not set aside to be considered as doing something different than what the committee decided.
So if we pass this list now, it will not pass.
So, correct, yes. So the resolution number 22 will not pass. Okay, so seeing no other questions, I'm happy to announce that we have now adopted all 22 resolutions, because we added one, by this body. Congratulations!
Answer on the 10 at-large delegates to the National Convention. Go ahead,
Mr. Chair, I have a point of information, and based on your answer, I may have a motion.
That's a loaded comment, but go ahead.
Dan Johnson, Washington County Republican Party Chair. Question about procedure on how we determine the top 10 alternates. Are they going to be top 10 go, or would that be possibly a series of votes? And that is my question. And like I say, based on the answer, I may have a motion.
Thank you. By the strict rules we have set up, it would be the same process as for the delegates. It would be top 10, but requiring for first ballot election at least 50% support vote. So there have been several proposals made to change that to top 10 regardless of the percentage of received votes.
I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules regarding the vote on the alternates and have the rules be that the top 10 vote getters are the alternates that go, regardless of a 50% majority or not, and that if there is a tie for the 10th position, that it be decided by a coin flip.
Point of information, Mr. Chairman.
Hold, everybody hang on. Dan, I would ask you to just hold your motion until we do the report on the delegates, and then let's decide how we want to proceed with the alternates.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will take whatever advisement and hold my motion. My motion is being held in Whatcom County, in the back of the room.
That's always where they put the bad kids, isn't it? All right. We do have a report from the credentials chair on the vote from the delegates, the 10 at-large delegates.
Point of comment, please.
Go ahead.
Yes, Kimberly Gogi-Nelvin, Clark County, PCO 522. It's wrong to give children any hormones, and it's also wrong to join the UK. We need to, we don't want to be taken over by anybody. We're a free nation. It's already here in our own cities. So go to your local city council meetings, the commission meetings, your county meetings, because they're undermining us.
I'm giving you grace on this, but this is not in order. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, let's get to our report on the delegate election. We're very close.
All right, in order to move on, I think we have elected 9 delegates, and all of them are on the Trump slate. They are as follows. They all had they're the highest 9, and they all had more than 50%, okay, which we needed at least 918 ballots. I apologize for the late, but as all you know, we had to count a lot of ballots here. Wes Martin, Dale Hagan, Georgine Ferris, Larry Sundquist, Powell Furman, Eileen Sobject, Carrie Snow, Bill Brook, and Robert Hope. Robert Hope, yes. Those are the 9 people that were elected. Here is what we have the issue on. We have lots of people, that's why that motion in the back is a problem. Because we have lots of people who are dropping off. They don't even get hard. They get 10 votes, 20 votes, 30. The next highest vote count was 803 with Michael Werner. And after that was Susan Hutchinson, Tasha May, and Jose Karam down to 203. Those are the only 4 people who got more than 50%. Everybody else was under. 200 votes, 199, 10 votes, 15. So, Mr. Chairman, we have 9 delegates. We need 1 more. So,
Mr. Chairman?
Can I make a motion? Can I make a motion from here, Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman?
Yes. So the report's done.
Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman?
We can take points of information about the report, and we can receive motions about what to do next.
I have a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Hold on, I saw this card first, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would like to suspend the rules, and I would like to accept the 10th highest vote getter as a delegate.
Second, but I'd like to amend this motion.
Hold on. All right, we have a motion, we have a second. We have a motion to amend. Go ahead.
I'd like to amend this motion by asking that we do accept the top 9 and that we take another vote, and in the next vote, we take the top 11, the first being elevated to the delegate, the bottom 10, the alternates. And if there's a tie, we do a flip of the coin.
that amendment is not in good order. First of all, the top 9 are already elected.
No.
And second of all, it guts the motion.
Point of order.
Go ahead.
The suspension of the rules comes first.
Correct, thank you. So the motion is to suspend the rules and accept the 10th qualifier among the delegates who just missed the 50% mark, accept that individual as a delegate. That's what we've got. So it will require 2 actions, a suspension of the rules, and then a vote on accepting the 10 who just missed the 50% mark. So we will vote on suspending the rules. Requires a 2/3 supermajority. So if you want to suspend the rules and elevate the 10 to the list, raise your hand. Thank you. If you oppose suspending the rules and don't want to do that, raise your hand. All right, the ayes have it. We suspend the rules for this purpose only, which is to elevate the 10th finisher who is just off 50%, whose name is Michael Werner. Michael, raise your hand if you're around. To the list and vote him as a delegate to the National Convention. Go ahead, process point. Go ahead, process point. No, all right, no process point. Amber, a process point? No. All right, so all in favor of elevating number 10, who just missed 50% to the list, raise your hands. Thank you. All those opposed, raise your hands. All right, the ayes have it. Michael Werner is a delegate.
Mr. Chair, Whatcom County, returning alderman.
Go ahead.
I make a motion to suspend the rules with regards to the alternate voting procedures and have the rules be that the top 10 alternates, vote getters, are elected regardless of whether they are 50% or not, and that if there is a 10th and it's a tie for the 10th position, that it is decided by a coin flip.
Second.
Thank you. Just to be clear, your motion is suspend the rules and remove the 50% requirement from the vote for alternates.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion is in order.
And then taking the top 10 vote getters, and that number 10 in the event of a tie is a coin flip.
Understood. Add the coin flip and turn the tie. Our numbers are so large, a tie is unlikely, but I appreciate it. Yes, we'll include that in the motion.
Point of information, Mr. Chairman. Would that mean that the next 10 people would not be the Trump alternate slate?
No, it's a different election.
Okay, thank you.
Just treated in a different way than we treated the first one.
Mr. Chairman, point of information.
Go ahead, I'm looking for you. Where are you? Oh, I see now. Okay, go ahead.
Carolyn Mel of King County, LP. It would be really helpful, would it be possible for the delegates to be posted so we can all see them?
Right, I think that's the way we're going to go. We're going to put the 10 who were just elected up on the screens so that you see who you don't need to vote for this time.
Yes.
And then by process of elimination, you can make your decisions otherwise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Good point. Thank you for the
One point of information on my motion, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
I don't know if I need to state it or if this is already assumed, but that we not be required to stay for the vote count.
Well, we had a mention about that earlier, process-wise. Just checking with Parliamentary. We're the Republicans. We don't force people to do things. If people want to leave, they can leave. The important thing is they vote.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Go ahead down here, 2 in a row.
Mr. Chairman, Rules Chair here, 2 questions. Have we approved the report as amended for the 10 delegates?
Yes.
We have, okay? I want to make one comment on the
Remember, these are gotta be process points because we're in the middle of a motion. We've had a motion made and seconded, and we have not voted on it yet. So please keep your comments to process points.
All I want to say is about the motion is normally we would do it just like we do for national delegates, and you got to get 50% plus one. In essence, what the gentleman has done is moved us to the second process. And so we're simply saying the top 10 regardless of 50% one, and we're substituting the second way to do it from the first. And I would support that motion.
So that was more approach.
Mr. Chairman.
All right, I like that. So we're really looking for pro and cons on the motion.
Mr. Chairman, unusually for me, Roberta Stephanie, Bloomfield and Chick, Snohomish County. I call the question.
Call the question. Well, it's a little premature, but okay, call the question. I recognize you. So, we are calling the question on the motion to change the way we count the votes for the alternates to the national convention. Go ahead.
The motion was to suspend the rules. We hadn't gotten to the changing of the process.
So it is a two-step process. The first is to suspend the rules. So this vote, which has just been called, is to suspend the rules in order to change the way we calculate the top 10 finishers for the alternates to the national convention. If you want to suspend the rules to do that, raise your hand. If you do not want to do that, raise your hand. The ayes have it, the rules are suspended. We will now consider the motion to change the way we count the votes for alternates to the national convention. Motion maker, do you want to say anything more? I don't see you, so let's go to a yes.
Chris Ferguson, Kitsap County, this is purely an experience of time. Yes, the Trump slate seems to be carrying. The result seems to be somewhat inevitable. The people do deserve their choice, so we do have to have the vote. But it's getting late here. It took us 4 hours to count the first vote. So let's just do one of these and be done with it. Thank you.
Thank you. In the back.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Lydia Fletcher, Whitman County. I've said this before. Do we care whether or not our delegates get challenged? I don't think this is something that we want to go because of this risk. Thank you.
Thank you for that point. I don't think we're in a great risk of these being challenged as we control our rules for how we count votes of delegates to the National Convention. And as the Rules Committee Chair said, this is actually the second ballot system we use anyway in our existing rules, so it is not a great change from our existing rules. Go ahead.
I'm actually against. Can you do the pro? Do we have to do a pro?
I don't see one, so.
Back here, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, call the question.
No, these cards have been up before the call. I do see the pro now. Go ahead, pro.
Mr. Chairman, Tony Stevens from Kitsap County. I understand, and I rise in support of the motion. I understand the concerns of some of those who want to provide the Trump team the delegation they wanted. We can simply do that by faithfully coding the slate and all is well.
Well, the slate has moved a little bit because at least one of the people in their alternate slate.
It is a good slate.
I'm not vouching for the slate. I understand some of them moved around a little bit, but we had notes about that. Go ahead, Amber.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Amber Craybot, King County. I apologize for the insinuation that I'm going to make. I believe that this truncation and expediting of this process is actually being used in order to put other electors in that are not Trump supporters or that are not the Trump slate. This is being used in order to not allow us to put the Trump electors in there as alternates, I believe. I apologize for that insinuation. I believe that it has been extended improperly. The time to count this has been extended improperly, and I believe that we should have the right to vote these electors in. Everyone needs to understand the delegates that were elected, 11 through 20 that will be put on that are not the Trump slate. Thank you.
I call the question.
So it would essentially go directly to our second ballot style of counting, which is the top 10, regardless of the percentage, are the alternates. That's the issue before us. If you support changing that methodology, raise your hand. If you do not, thank you. If you do not support that change in methodology, raise your hand. The ayes have it, the motion carries. So to be clear, you can vote for the alternates. Oh, my voice is starting to go. You can vote for the alternates. The method by which we will calculate and tabulate the top 10 finishers is simply the top 10 vote getters. It will not require them to have the 50% threshold that we had previously applied to the vote.
In the interest of expediency as well as intelligence, we all voted for the people we want to see go. The top 10 are going. Why don't we make the alternates the next 10? We voted on them already.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
Rita England, Mason County. I'm just wanting to make sure that we are going to have a list of the candidates for the alternate, not just the list of the delegates, and then we have that other list that was from the original list. Are they all the same people sign up for delegate as alternate?
There is some overlap. There is a large amount of overlap, but I think the most useful information, here we go. This is the list. This is an attempt to show you the list, minus those that have been elected. I think that's what that was. So really your best tool for making a decision is process of elimination. The individuals who've been elected already, don't vote for them. Vote for people who have not been crossed off the list.
Mr. Chairman, my question was, were there any people on the list who wanted to run as an alternate who were not on the original list for delegates?
Yes, there were some.
And is that list going to be, that going to be who's on that list?
Well, these lists were all distributed earlier. The trouble with posting the new list now is this is fluid and the numbers and the names are changing. So what we have are the lists with the people who've been elected stricken through. Mr. Chairman, can you call the question? I said whatever the executive director tells me that's not right, that there was only one list which included both alternates and delegates. The candidates were alternate and delegate. So it was similar to how we did the speeches, where it was up to the individual to say which they were running for. Go ahead.
Blau, Island County. Point of clarification.
Let me all right, we have a speaker on the floor. Please be quiet.
I am confused who the top 10 delegates are that were elected. Are those it now, the yellow highlighted? You said earlier the strike is striked out.
Correct. The ones who are elected are in the yellow highlighted here, so don't vote for them.
Can you please leave that out for a few seconds or at least a few?
All right. Staff, let's not take this down. Let's keep this up.
Please read. Okay.
Let's see. Any thoughts on actions?
Thank you.
Go ahead.
John Cena, Spokane. Please read the names of those highlighted elected delegates. This way we can write them down. Because we can't see it back here.
Ask the secretary to come up.
Okay, the list of delegates that were elected include Wes Martin, Doug Hagan, Georgie Ferries. Slower. All right, Wes Martin, Doug Hagan. Dale Hagan, sorry. Because somebody wrote this list for me and wrote Georgie Ferries. Larry Sunquist, mess up this last name. Berman. Eileen Sojak. Carrie Snow. Bill Brook. Robert Hogg. And finally, number 10, Michael Warner. Okay, one more time. Wes Martin. Dale Hagan. Georgine Ferries. Larry Sundquist. Apollo Furman. Eileen Sojak. Carrie Snow. Bill Brook. Robert Hogg. And Michael Werner.
I can only see 7 that's been marked with the yellow. My name has not been marked with the yellow. My name hasn't been marked.
Right, staff, we need to mark off another name.
There's a couple others I don't think is showing as marked off. Thank you.
We need to mark off 3 more names that were elected from our list that were elected at the delegate.
I know somebody who, by mistake, wrote all the original delegates that were elected on the current ballot. What do they do to remedy that?
What is that?
They wrote all the original delegates that were already elected on the ballot for the alternate election. What do they do about that? Do they cross them off? Or do they
cross them off and put other names in.
Okay.
I guess I have a point of order or a request for information.
We have a question on the floor, please be quiet. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Shane Cagle from Spokane County. I would just like to make sure that this is a list of the people who signed up to be an alternate. The 2 lists, my understanding is both lists are different. There are different names on both lists. And we need to see the list of those who signed up to be an alternate delegate, minus who's already been elected from the first list.
We only have 1 list. There was not a distinct list of alternates.
So, people didn't sign up for alternates to be
They
alternates?
signed up as alternates, but we asked them to identify from the list.
So there was 1 list, and both that same list were both alternate.
I'm sorry, I could not hear you.
People finishing their votes, but please keep it down. I don't know the individual you're naming, but it's...
See you, Big Dog. Let me know.
Okay? And you're saying you don't see her, but other people see her.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Point of information.
sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I rise as a point of personal privilege. Even though I raised a motion to pick somebody else besides our national committee man and committee woman, I want to announce to the entire body the incredibly long service and absolute wonderful character of our national committee man and committee woman, and I'm glad that they are two of our electors.
Circulated as an email afterwards. I never got to get a number on that you were watching, but I'm certainly hearing from people who are watching. This is fine. Go ahead. Over here. To the left. You're right. Sorry. There you go. Not brown. Anyways, we still got ballots being counted or written back here, so don't shut that down yet. Yeah, we're not gonna adjourn. Don't worry. Go ahead.
Edward Mayor? What about what Obama said, and I quote, never underestimate Joe Biden's ability to fuck things up? Yep. Bingo. Right. But right here, after this is $35 on Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.